And I realized the importance of having a peaceful life when you can negotiate peaceful life for yourself and negotiate peaceful life for the others. Seeking peace in our lives is the greatest gift that we could not ever give to ourselves or to other people. You know, throughout my marriage, I was married only for 4 years. I have to stop that marriage because I couldn't find peace within that marriage. And I stayed next to the father of my children, hoping that we can live side by side and raising our children. It didn't work. So seeking peace took me to Scotland because I was seeking peace. I was looking for a place that I can evaluate peacefully with my children. And Scotland gave me that opportunity with a job perspective that put me a long way to the place I was expecting. So I think it's important in our lives to avoid conflict because conflict does not take us anywhere prosperous.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Chatting with the Experts. Our topic today is We Must Make It a Better World. And with that, I want to welcome the phenomenal Dr. Debora Kayembe. Welcome, Dr. Debora, to the show. I am so fascinated by your resume. I couldn't even read everything. So what I did is what I normally do. I just take some snippets of it. And if there's anything that you really want me to point out, please share it with us.
Thank you for having me.
And you were saying, we started off by saying, education is the means to greatness. So yes. So something that I would love you to talk about is never giving up, because I know that's one of the things you want to speak on. Why do you want to encourage people never? I mean, that sounds like something strange to say. Why are you going to encourage people never to give up? But you must have a story or a reason for saying that.
Well, I was brought up in the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa, where women rights and women condition are still in the backbone of our kitchens. We still have to fight within our families to get out there, to get out on the street, to get our voice within our own families. This is the family where I was born, a polygamic family. My father has 2 wives, and very quickly the marriage collapses. I was 2 years old. And then I was taken away from my mother at age 2 and was be entrusted to my father's family because this is the tradition. We are a patriarchal families. So the woman, once you divorce, you don't have any right on your children. So this is what happened to me, a 2 years old girl, and being looked after by my father who tries with very difficult stepmothers, and then that didn't work. And then in the end, he trusted me to his own sister, a younger sister who was married to another man who seems to have a much stable marriage at that time. So I lived under the care of my aunt, where everything I have to do, I have to earn it. So if I want to earn the respect in my aunt's house, I have to be a good girl, doing all the chores, being respectful. When you're tired, not saying no, responding to their needs so you can have in exchange the will to pay for your education, So I remember I was in primary school when the teacher says, if you are educated, no one can take that treasure away from you because education is your treasure. If you can read and write, if someone tells you a lie, but you're still able to read and write and understand why what he's telling me is a lie. So in an environment where my parents were not there, my biological parents were not there, my brothers and sister were not there, there was my cousin. Sometimes they like me, sometimes they dislike me. My own power was my education. So in some level, in some period of time when we were grown up, my aunt has difficulties to pay my study. So she then privileged her own children and said, you can go when I think I have money to pay for you. You only have me, your aunts. I'm married here. There's nothing I can do. So it was like, you do this, you get this in exchange. But for me, I will do as much as they're asking me to do at home, so they don't have an excuse not to pay for my education.
Gotcha.
You see, so it was that I keep on studying. But in exchange of all that, in this midst of difficulties, I was always the first in my class, the best student. So
Yes.
that encouraged them at home also because it was like themselves feeling, oh, we have an intelligent child in the house, so we can keep paying for her. We got the honor for us. So it was keeping and giving, you know. It's in this environment of cultural backbone of girls that I was brought up in the Congo, where I have to fight for everything I needed to get. And for me, there was nothing else than my own education, because at such a young age, I realized that was my freedom.
And it indeed was your freedom.
Yes,
Look
it
at what
was.
you've accomplished today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I guess that is what has given you that heart of gold to, look out for people who are underprivileged, underrepresented. I noticed that you joined the Royal Society of Edinburgh
Mhm.
in 2019, I think you
Yeah,
said. 2019, yes.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it was also the Young Academy of Scotland for representing refugee minorities.
Yes. Well, you know, when I continue in DRC, obviously I finished I graduated at university. I get to go to the bar. And then there was another situation through the bar when they were saying, every student who finished this year, because they come to in the reef of civil war, you have to go to do your prestation inside the country, not in the big cities. So my aunt says, okay, I don't have anywhere to take you. I don't know, I have any friend to put you in the next town where you can go to get your internship to become a lawyer. You have to find your own ways. Again, with my own determination, I decided to go on that place where my aunt was not there, my family was not there. I was on my own in the city, knowing nobody, only to complete my internship to become a lawyer and to be able to pass in the bar. So I went through all this determination of, if I have studies, why can I not become what I want to become? So
Yeah.
I studied to become somebody. But if at the midst of becoming what I want to become, I have to give up, it doesn't make sense at all. I have
Yes.
to go to the end. So I eventually managed to get to the bar and starting to campaign for human rights in DRC. I remember the first time I came to the situation where I was doing a study on the field and I went to the poorest area of Kinshasa, when I saw a baby of 3, 4 years old screaming because the child did not eat anything for 3 days. I asked the mother, why your child is crying like this? Well, we have no food for 3 days.
Mhm.
I ran home, I got the food that was just throwing in my fridge and took it and went to give to the family. And I said, from now on, if your child is starving, you have to call me. I'll provide for you. I
Yeah.
was a young lawyer that I'm working and helping and start opening my eyes around me, seeing the inequality that was existing in the Congo at that time. And is still existing today because now the country is collapsing in a civil war. It's a different story. But I have left Congo in 2005,
Mhm.
fleeing for my safety because as a human rights lawyer, I showcase violation of human rights throughout the years. So I was really afraid to stay in I settled in the UK.
Mhm.
In the UK with my husband came another story of domestic abuse and domestic violence, which I survived again.
Oh, my word.
and
Oh.
then, and the reason why I left England to move to Scotland, because I was in a quest of peace.
Mm.
I needed peace after a difficult marriage. So that peace, I found it in Scotland, where again, no one around me, only me with 2 babies, 11 months and 2 years old,
My word,
that
Deborah.
I raised on my own for 20 years until this day.
20
Yes,
years.
without getting engaged in another relationship. But coming to the Royal Society of Edinburgh when I arrived in Scotland, it was the lack of knowledge of the African culture and African heritage in the Scottish society. So when I joined the academy, my idea was, perhaps you hear stories, but I am the witness. I am the witness of what's happened in Africa
Yeah.
because I was educated in Africa.
Mhm.
When I came at the society, no one believed Congo could produce lawyers. And I said, what? There are plenty of lawyers in the Congo, you know.
And
So
here
there
is
was,
one.
yeah.
And you said, and here is one standing before you, right?
Yes, yes. And that was another challenge because there were so many stories about Africa on this ancient society. Within this ancient society was just not truth about Africa. There was a lot of falsification. There was a lot of stereotyping, and that was the job I given myself when I joined the society. And I said, give me the chance to tell you what Africa is about. Give me the chance to describe you the strength of the African woman who lives in a society where her nature as woman is already downgraded, but she's still fighting to raise a family, to feed the family, to go through the education. And I think that gave me this portrait being erected because it changed the Scottish society on the way of seeing Africa. 4 years on working on policies, 4 years on rewriting story, rewriting narrative about Africa, made them believe this woman deserved it. Perhaps you don't know this, the Royal Society of Edinburgh exists for 267 years. It has a total of 167 portraits, all white male. Only one woman at that time arrived, that was the late Queen Elizabeth.
And your portrait is there.
And my portrait after that.
That's commendable, Dr. Debora. Oh my God.
That was the work that is about making a world where we're respecting each other by first knowing exactly who is the person next to me. No stereotyping, no making ideas, but who is he? Who is her? And then where does it come from? And learn from them. And then build the respect, tolerance, and dialogue around this situation.
Exactly. And that's something I guess you helped put into place by being the example, being the one that they could relate to, being like a resource, like, okay, do you want to find out more about, let's talk, even if we're not talking about the whole African continent, which is much bigger than people can even imagine.
Yes.
Never represented correctly on the map. But then you say, let's start with even my country, and what questions do you need? You thought there were no lawyers? Here I am. You thought there were no lawyers educated in the DRC? Here I am.
Yes. But the headline to the media, when I became rector of the University of Edinburgh, it was every single place saying, this woman was born, raised, and educated in Africa. You see that? So Africa has a lot to give to the world.
Oh, yes.
Africa has a lot in terms of human resources, in terms of whatever things you call, it's just the whole humanity together in one single land with extraordinary people. But colonization changed the history, changed the narrative. That's where we are now.
That's where we are now. And talking about where we are now, you mentioned that one thing that you're passionate about is encouraging people to be courageous. Let's expand on that.
Courage is something extraordinary. Before you contaminate the courage to other people, you need to be yourself the courage.
Yes.
Your life, your project, everything you do has to reflect on courage. The courage of trying, the audacity of believing in yourself.
Yes. What in other words, you're saying it has to come from within you. You got to believe in yourself. You got to be courageous about whatever it is that you feel like you need to represent.
Yes.
And then go forward with that.
Yes. And that goes to, you see people talking around you, let them talk. Time will prove you right. Let them talk. As long as you are in the right path, let them talk. Because time will justify you. I have something personal as a mother, because we are women, and most of us in the majority, we are mother, and so many single moms around the world right now, When I was raising my children, I had no one to look after them. Okay? So in order for me to escape social services or taking children into care, I have to pay substantial money to nannies and to escape the social system. And that is very common in Europe and in America. And I remember every year as we were going throughout the year, I was saying to myself, how long I'm going to be paying this? I got an opportunity to travel around the world. I cannot do that. I have small children. I have to stand by them and live by side. And I'm telling this to every woman, don't discourage yourself, because through the end of the tunnel, there is a light.
Yes.
So I was just waking up from the morning and I said, oh, today I got this opportunity to go to work in Japan, but I can't go because it's so far away for the children. They're so young. Goodness, I can't do that. I managed to work and more. I was living my life, excited to my children, respecting my role as a mother, even though I felt so unjust to be raising my children on my own because their father walked away. But the day I become that lady the world was talking about, it paid off. The courage,
yes,
taking a position, the firm position of doing the right thing, the courage of standing through the right thing always pays in this life. It always pays.
Thank you for saying that, because many a times women need to hear that. You made your children your priority in spite of the difficulties involved, in spite of the fact that you couldn't progress in some ways because your first and foremost, your responsibility were to your children. They didn't ask to be born. So you now, because of that, stood by them. And I'm sure today, how old are they, if you don't mind sharing?
19 and 20 today.
19 and 20.
All free. So it's all big house on my own now.
Look at that. Look at that. It's been worth it.
Yeah, it's been worth it. So this is something I said about the courage of facing adversity. It's something extraordinary, because if you are facing this kind of trial where you need to make a choice, it is now you get the glory you want to have, or it is a long way going, but the end of the tunnel is shiner than where you can go quickly. It takes courage.
Yes, it does.
It takes courage.
It does.
No? It takes courage to choose to protect the others. It takes courage to choose to raise the voice for the others instead of yourself.
Yeah.
It takes courage to forget yourself sometime and to put a cause ahead that concerns everyone. It takes that courage, but it always pays.
Always pays off.
Yeah, always.
I know that you describe yourself as an activist, and not just region of where you are in Scotland, but
all around the world.
And international law. Would you say that's your life experiences that have motivated you to do that? Because I know we talked about never giving up, but I know something else that you mentioned off camera to me was seek peace at any cost.
Yes, yeah. Well, activism is one of the things in this world that expose you to many things. It exposes you to hatred for those who doesn't want you to continue in the path that you're going. But activism, most of all, you do it because you need peace around the society where you live, within your community, within your inner circle, And I remember being a child who was born into conflict. I think that exercise started, as you say, my own life experience. I was a child born into conflict in a house where peace was not there. And then I've been moving at such a young age from one house to another in just trying to seek peace. And I realized the importance of having a peaceful life when you can negotiate peaceful life for yourself and negotiate peaceful life for the others. Seeking peace in our lives is the greatest gift that we could not ever give to ourselves or to other people. Throughout my marriage, I was married only for 4 years. I have to stop that marriage because I couldn't find peace within that marriage. And I stayed next to the father of my children, hoping that we can live side by side and raising our children. It didn't work. So seeking peace took me to Scotland because I was seeking peace. I was looking for a place that I can evaluate peacefully with my children. And Scotland gave me that opportunity with a job perspective that put me a long way to the place I was expecting. So I think it's important in our lives to avoid conflict, because conflict does not take us anywhere prosperous. No, we need to avoid conflict. We need to be peacemakers. And the peace that we have to make around us has to be sustainable. And it has to come from our own lived experience.
Yes.
Once we have lived that experience, we can share them with the others easily because we have been through the same process. It's very important. Today, when I see conflict around the world, people come to me and say, Debora, if you say just one word, things will change. Because the testimony of my life, the testimony of the experience I have lived, gave me that notoriety to speak out. So women need to cultivate this reputation instead of money. Build your own reputation within your community first, and then within your inner circle, because it's important to build that. Once you build it, you earn the respect. And there is nothing better in this life than to live peacefully. You're in your living room, you feel a glass of water, you're drinking your water, you're watching your program, you go to sleep peacefully. It's priceless.
And that's impactful coming from a woman like you who has experienced so much conflict, who's currently still experiencing conflict. You know, you appreciate peace when you know or have experienced what peace is not like.
Yes, yeah.
When you've lived through a war, you know what peace is like. And you seek to keep peace at all means.
And then when you realize the others are going to that torment you've been before, you have to fight for them to find the same peace.
Yes.
You can't just live on your own peace.
Absolutely correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Debora, I would, Dr. Debora, to make sure I address you correctly. We could talk forever, but I know the audience members who have joined would love to ask you some more questions. But for those of you who are viewing this online, or people who are viewing this online, who would like to know more about you, find out more about what you do, get in contact with you. How can they reach you?
But the best contact is certainly LinkedIn, because I'm in LinkedIn as Dr. Debora Kayembe. And you can reach out to me on Instagram too, Debora Kayembe, the same name, just Debora Kayembe, as well as I'm an ex, Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah,
it's X now.
Horrible platform. So you can reach me. LinkedIn is far better, so you can message me directly. We can be in touch. But I would say something to women today is that everything you do, don't live for yourself, live for the others. Live to have a space where you can share your very best to the others, your experience, your inner experience to the others. So you can build a world where there is less and less problems, because the world is already difficult the way it is. You got the tsunamis coming, we got the climate change. It's already too much for human being right now. So if us as human, we build these bridges of peace, the bridges of understanding and tolerance, and we mastermind our education for the goods, we are going to make a better world.
Dr. Kayembe, that is so well said.
Thank you very much.
So well said. For those of you who have been impacted, what you just heard from Dr. Kayembe, if you'd like to be a guest like she has been on my show, reach out to me on my website, which is chattingwiththeexperts.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can go to my business page there, which is Chatting with the Experts. Facebook, Chatting with the Experts as well. And on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel where you'll hear messages. I mean, I'm so excited. Messages from women from Africa, from the Caribbean and the diaspora who are sharing with you, who are there to educate you and empower you and encourage you. Messages just like Dr. Debora Kayembe just shared with us. Please like and subscribe so that you can be notified whenever another exceptional woman is sharing her message with you. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you for having me, Paula. It was a real pleasure.